Couple questions. I wanted to focus in on the special ed students. One of the things that came up in my forum, and I don't know if you've talked to your members about this, special bond between a teacher and a child with special ed, where they may have to guide them in certain tests and stuff in order for them to go to be able to do their best. And that's part of their IEP. And I'm hearing that during the testing period, it was 90 minutes. They had this, a special ed student had to sit for a test, and the teacher wasn't allowed to help them. They had to stand off to the side. I actually had one kid that was stabbing himself with a pencil because he was so frustrated. Have you heard this with the from the special ed teachers that you represent?
Well, we've heard it from general ed and special ed, how kids are so frustrated, how they've cried during tests, how they vomited on a test, and that test had to be taken, put it into a plastic bag and sent to SED, which seems atrocious that children would be subjected to such conditions and stress and tension in early grades especially.
And you've gotten feedback from your teachers as far as the age appropriateness and the developmentally appropriateness
Yes.
of the curriculum. And what I'm getting is, and I've looked at it myself, and I found that most of it was not age appropriate, and it's more like there's no rubrics for kids with disabilities. Would you agree with that? To take in consideration, what we're doing is we're racing towards almost the middle. So what we're actually doing is advanced learners, we're bringing them back down, and the kids that are struggling on the bottom, we're leaving behind. Have you found that with your?
Well, having to focus on tests so much time and energy and money has definitely not helped the kids who need the help the most. So if the whole obsession with testing is where the education system is now focused, then the kids that need the most help are not getting that extra attention.
Right. And I'm sorry I'm using you for a vehicle to actually speak to my colleagues on some of these issues. Do you have a cost as far as some of the school districts, how much it's costing them to implement things with, such as the data collection and the testing? You have any idea?
We'd be happy to get back to you with an estimate.
Well, I just had one of my schools text me. Would it surprise you that it's costing a school district on Long Island $223,392 per year? And now the funding, I'm trying to find it. Just all of this money we keep talking about to race to the top,
Right.
okay? How much of that is coming to the schools? Because what my school's telling me is they get $4,000.
Half the race to the top was retained by the staff, by the state. Roughly 350, I think, was portioned out over 5 years. So it wasn't as much as it was ballyhooed, and it wasn't uniform, obviously. It was highly targeted. So many districts have had to really subsidize the cost of the standards that were attached to Race to the Top. Moreover, the curriculum modules that were promised by State Ed Department, I think for 2011, were not many of them were not delivered. For instance, we don't have 9th, 10th, or 11th grade modules leading to the 11th grade ELA.
Okay.
And also, we've been asking for a bill that would address all of these questions, so we can find out how much time, money is spent on testing throughout the state.
Okay.
So we would hope to see that during this session.
Okay. I think they're going to tell me I ran out of time. I still have time, Jan?
Don't you have a clock down there? Is there one over to the left there? It's not working? Probably plug it in would be a good idea.
Okay, pre-K. Let's go to the pre-K. It's just for the high-need schools that we're talking about, right? The pre-K, or is it all schools?
No, we'd like to see pre-K universal.
But the governor's proposal, is it just high stakes, or is it all schools?
That's throughout the state.
He's proposing a statewide program, and it appears to pick up the net additional costs fully, but it isn't sufficient to roll it out for every single 4-year-old.
And what's happening now, some of our schools have half-a-day kindergarten or no kindergarten. Isn't that true?
Some do have
That's correct.
half-day, some have full-day. What we're trying to avoid in this is having the pre-K program in the school and having only half-day kindergarten, and the kids having to go down the hall to borrow crayons from another class because everything is not funded sufficiently.
So the governor's proposal, I'd send a child to pre-K and then say, take a year off and we'll bring you back to first grade, right, in some school districts.
Well, what we're hoping for is sufficient funding.
Yeah, like the teacher evaluations he was going to pay for last year, that never went in the budget. Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.